All right, Tim, we are live for our third installment of Dudes on a Dock.
Winter edition.
Winter edition, almost winter edition. It's, I mean, what is it right now? Probably high 50s,
High 50s,
60s, 60.
And then next Christmas weekend, winter.
Yeah, then we're going to winter time. This episode, we're going to be talking about some of our top picks for maybe holiday ideas. Maybe you get some Christmas money and you want to spend it here at Lake Pro Tackle. We'd appreciate that. But these are going to be kind of our highest end picks that we have at the store here, and then also something like a great budget style combo as well. And we've got 2 different casting and 2 different spinning in those categories, and then we've got also our top 2 baits that we're going to talk about in this time of fishing. You know, Texas, we're here in North Texas, and the water temps around the country are a little bit weird. The consensus that I found with a lot of people who I talked to is the fish, the weather, it's just all different, and people are just a little confused by it, as well as the fish. So we are gonna talk about our rod and reel combos first. Tim, you want to kick us off? Let's start with the more budget one. You've got, I believe you got a bait casting.
Yes, I got the bait caster. I've got
Set the box right there. Perfect. We're gonna do a little dual view here so you can get a good look at the reel.
There you go.
There you go.
This is just a Lew's Speed Spool LFS, right? It's about $100 reel. It's a Lew's, so they cast really nice. And this one actually is set up. This is like a 5.6. This is more like your jerkbait cranking kind of a reel. So, but it's a really good price point, and most people the thing I like about Lew's, I love the clicking tension knob on them. I like it just has a regular old
Little dial.
just a dial magnetic braking on it. It's kind of a very keep it simple, stupid, and it's got a deeper spool on it too, as you can tell.
Yep. Great for deep cranking it, and it's
holds
not
a
one of
lot
those
of
break the bank price points.
No.
Like you said, it's like $110,
Yep.
$115 reel, and you don't find many of those.
No, not now. And I think most bass guys, that's about where they are.
Yep.
If you start getting cheaper than that, it's something you might give like a little younger kid or anything. But if you're going to use it a lot,
yeah, and I think Lew's, like, they'll stand up to you beating them up, and even
Correct.
at that lower point, it's like they're hands down. They're gonna work.
Yes.
And you've got a rod that you're gonna pair that up with.
yes, I do. Now it's not a Lew's one, but it's one of my favorites. It actually, and we talked about this earlier today.
Yes.
It
Our
is-
customers love these.
This is the Veritas PLX, right? This is a medium moderate 7. And what I love about this rod, it's a $120 rod.
Yep.
It's not bad, but it feels like glass, but it's very light.
Very, very light.
Very light, right?
The blank is almost, it's like an in-between of something like a very true composite and like a very hard
But it's
graphite.
not glass.
But it's not glass.
It's not glass. And it's great for cranking. And what else I like about the blank in itself is that they actually make it in a spinning version also.
Right.
For a spinning rod, same blank.
Yep.
So, which is the one I have, and I use it for jerkbait fishing, little crankbaits all the time. In fact, I think I caught in 21, the spring of 21, about 7-8 days apart, I caught an 8 and a 9.4 on this exact rod.
Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah,
So,
show the viewers here at this camera the bend at like the second eyelet. Like, this thing bends all the way through
Look at that,
the
though.
rod. It's a great parabolic action.
it's really, really good. And I use it for jerkbait fishing, and I use it for little crankbaits too, all the time.
Yep.
It's a great rod for the money. And really, I don't think I've had any of these guys in the store. I don't think they've bought them, and haven't had come back. That's not one that's broke a lot at all.
Yep,
So, and
Abu
that's-
Garcia rods are great about that. We've had a few other companies. We're not going to throw them under the bus.
Yeah, we
but
won't
we've
say
had
names.
a few of them
No.
come in a little more consistent than others.
Yes.
But I'll be
Now
up next.
you're next. Yeah.
So I'm going to be doing the more budget-friendly spinning combo here. You had the casting.
Correct.
And I am going with the Ultegra as the spinning reel. It's an amazing, amazing spinning reel. It really reminds me of something like a Stratic.
It's very, very
It's
close
got
to a Stratic.
almost the same technology. The Stratic just pulls a little bit more from the higher end stuff, but it looks beautiful. I don't know if this camera here can even pick up on that. I'm
But
gonna
it's
have
pretty
to.
real.
turn that up a little bit there, because sun's going down behind us, but right there, it's an amazing looking reel. And that's one thing that got me when Tim was like, hey, you should maybe talk about the Ultegra. I'm like, I looked at it, I was like, this looks like a $300 reel.
Yep.
It looks very similar to something like the older Stella, maybe without the chrome.
Yep.
But the Ultegra at $154, guys,
It's a deal.
hands down, straight up deal. The drag is silky smooth on it. Comes in a wide variety of sizes, and it also has the HG version, which a lot of spinning reels, it comes in at a little faster gear ratio than something like a regular Stratic or Nasty or Sahara or something like that.
So, people might not know this about spinning reels. I tell people a lot, but this is a 6-to-1 ratio, right? Which is okay, but it actually picks up 35 inches per turn,
Yep.
which is as fast as a 7.5, almost an 8-to-1 ratio
Right.
reel. So, what's good about that? A fish can swim faster than we can reel. I guarantee
Period.
you. Period.
Smallmouth
And being
especially.
able to have something that you can pick a lot of line up with is important with it. And the other thing that I like about it, especially Shimano's reels, is that it's got 20 pounds of drag.
Yes.
So it has more drag than a lot of bait casters.
Yeah, I mean, you get into like Shimano's Corrado K, it's
Yeah.
got what, 13 pounds
Maybe,
of drag?
yeah. Some of the Zillions or some of the Daiwas are the same, not
Yeah.
a lot of drag on
And
them.
I mean, you don't ever really use
20
anything
pounds of
over.
drag is a lot of drag.
Yeah, like I can lock down my
Yeah.
like Bantam or
Yep.
Zillion at 13 pounds of
Yep.
drag, and it's locked down. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
No fish is gonna pull line out. But that's the reel there.
Yep.
And this one is one that I personally haven't actually fished that much.
Oh, it's a great.
But this guy right here, it is one of the greatest buys you can get. Especially, I was going for more of a finesse spinning combo, and that's the reason I went with the Shimano for like the
Yep.
drag system on
Yep.
it, because it's so smooth. You
Right.
get Shimano and Daiwa, they're
Yep.
just above competitors. But this guy right here, the rod I'm going to match it up with is going to be an Omen Black, and this guy comes in a bunch of different sizes and actions, but this is the 7'1" medium light.
Right.
And I think the great thing about the 7'1" length is that it's still long enough for you to throw a lot of lighter lures like a
Okay.
drop shot and
Right.
a Ned rig. Personally, I prefer a little bit longer 7'3" to 7'6", but for them to have this action, which is very similar to that baitcaster one,
Yep.
it's
Got a pretty soft
has a
tip.
great tip on it,
Yep.
pretty parabolic through the entire
Yep.
thing, and it loads up a lot differently when you have something hanging at the end of it than when you bend it.
You could throw little cranks on
But,
that, a little
yep.
pop or two, a little jerk
Got
bait
enough
with it.
backbone. Yes,
Backbone.
this would be a perfect jerkbait rod.
Right.
We talk about one that you're going to talk about here in
Yeah.
just a second. That is like
The
the
jerkbait.
jerkbait rod for
Yeah.
spinning stuff. But this one is a great all-around, a little on the finessier side, so you're not going to be throwing like shaky heads and real heavier stuff. Like, I mean, you can probably get away with the finesse jig depending on your hook gauge.
Yeah.
But this guy right here is going to be an excellent combo with the Ultegra.
I know one of our customers bought this for his kid for high school last year.
Yep. Yep.
And they caught a 9-pounder on Texoma on an Omen Black.
Oh.
The other thing about 13 in
Oh, yes,
particular, I will
yes.
tell you, is they have a very good return policy. This is a $130 rod, and they give you a 5-year warranty for like faulty
Yep.
equipment
Guides fall
breakage.
off or
The other thing they have that's great with 13, if you break it, oops, you slammed it in the car door, you stepped on it, they give you an oops breakage. I think it's $45, and they'll send you a new rod.
Yep.
You can't, I mean, $130 5-year warranty is pretty
That's
incredible.
a great deal.
Nobody's
right there.
doing that.
Nope.
But these guys are. Neat.
All right. So now we're gonna go into the higher end buys. If you want to start with the
I'll do that.
rod first,
Yeah,
reel
do the-
first.
Let's do the reel first.
Yeah, that way we can leave the reel here. People can look at it if they want.
Okay.
So right there is
this
the reel.
is some cheese right here. We call it.
And you see the twin power in the Ultegra.
Almost.
I mean-
they're pretty similar looking.
They're pretty dang similar. That's why I was like, oh no, that thing is super expensive.
Yeah. This is the twin power. I actually have one that's the XD. It's almost the same thing, just blue. It's in the high end scale. It's like 415, I think.
Yep.
It's almost a Stella. If you're familiar with what a Stella is, it is like nice. And it's the same thing. This is the 3000 size, right? And this will pick up 37 inches per
Yeah,
turn.
I think it's 38, but yeah,
37 or
it's up
38.
high 30s.
And it's nutty. It is so smooth you can't even feel gears in it when you turn it.
Yep.
It's fine tuned.
It's got the X Protect to keep all the sediment
Yeah.
and saltwater stuff out
Very,
of it.
very fine tuned.
Yep.
And you would probably have this reel for 10 or 15 years or more before.
Easy. Oh, easy.
And even in my Stradic, some of them I've had them. I've never touched them. I never had to do anything to them. And these are incredible reels. And when you buy stuff that's high end from Shimano, especially like this or their Stellas, they're really good at fixing them. In fact, you're going to have to send them back to them. And just the tolerances on them, you can tell there's no slop in them at all.
Yeah. I mean, you flip the bail over real quick. Like, it's just easy. Nothing to it.
I barely even have to turn it. Well, some of them are kind of sticky.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
but that happens because with the rotor and like spinning reels, there's like a little catch that flips it over. So if you're too close to it, it's like you gotta take a lot of power. But if you've got like a lot of distance between it, then see right here, it's right on it. Right here, flips it over.
It's an awesome reel. You could not, I mean, if you're going to go all the way, it would be the way to go.
Yep, and it's like you said, it's basically almost a Stella. The only difference now is the Stella went back to a long stroke spool instead of a short stroke spool.
And I think it wraps slower.
Yes, it wraps slower.
Much
Slower
slower, yeah.
oscillation on
Slower oscillation.
it. Yep.
So you get really even wrapping on it. Okay, now we got the reel. Now the rod. And this is the Megabass Orochi whip snake.
The whip snake.
Whip snake, right?
And I think we've talked about this one before.
Yeah,
So
we may have. And it's really made for a lot of things like Ned rigs and shaky heads and stuff. But if you've ever watched him, Randy Blaukett.
who doesn't know Randy Blaukett,
You know
right?
who he
If you're
is.
watching this video,
Yeah,
I'm sure you know.
He has a lot of commentary, but he fishes a jerkbait on a spinning reel, and
Yep.
this is the one he fishes it on. He also, people may or may not know, they know he's a Megabass guy, but he helped design the 110 way back in the 90s when they started bringing over those
Yeah.
things, and Lucky Craft, but they started getting into it, but he helped design it. So, and he fishes this stuff on a spinning, and he uses 8, maybe 10 to 6 pound test when he fishes.
Yep.
When he fishes it. But the rod is just made, it's got a soft, and it's barely bend across the whole blank.
Yeah, and that's what weighted or what F?
It's an
power? Is it
3.
3.
It's an F3, yep. Yeah.
For those of you who don't
F3.
know Megabass rating systems for
Are different.
powers,
Yeah.
the higher in F you go, the higher the
stiffer the
stiffness,
rod is,
basically.
And this is a 611, almost
Yep.
a 7, so it makes it pretty good for what he's doing it for. And
Great for
yeah.
shorter people, vertically challenged people.
I personally don't have one of these yet, but I do have an Orochi 7.4 Enforcer that I throw a lot of my wobble head on.
Right.
And you can throw finesse jigs and text. It's an awesome rod.
See, and the
Yeah.
thing is, every time I see Tim walk past it, he looks at it
Yeah,
like,
to touch it.
oh, there it is.
There it is. Yeah, it is a great rod, and this is 350. So you would be into my rig for like $700 or so.
Yep.
But it is a.
But
it
the
is
Megabass warranty, Shimano warranty,
Warranty.
at that price, guys, it's totally worth it. I've made the switch over to that higher end gear
Yeah.
where I'm paying over 3 something, almost 4 something for my
Yep.
rods and reels, just because they come with that platinum
Yep.
warranty that you don't get with a lot of the
other
cheaper
brands.
items.
Now Sam gets to go all the way
All
for
right.
a bait caster.
So next up, this isn't the highest cheese you can get. So like
Pretty
you,
close.
there's steps above
Yes.
what we're doing here.
Yeah.
And the reel that I'm going to be talking about now has quickly become a staple in my hands.
people,
Like
yep.
it's always on the deck, always going to have something on it. This is the Daiwa Zillion. And let me tell you, I can spool
Yes.
a half-ounce lipless crankbait with like 15-pound line
Go
with
on.
ease. Like
Go on.
I don't even have to use both hands to spool this thing. It is that in
think-
tune.
I
That
think-
SV spool.
I think it casts better than a DC even. The Shimano
Oh,
DC.
hands down.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not the Metanium, but it's pretty dang close. My Metanium DCs can bomb. This guy, without any DC braking,
Yeah.
it can bomb. And the great thing about the Zillion here is, again, the SV spool is so advanced, it lets it start up and brakes at the start, lets it go, and then brakes at the end with that centrifugal force in the spool itself, which I really like. You know, I was reading more into the Daiwa braking system, and it's just so much more complicated, and I think it makes a lot more sense than a DC system at times. I will say, casting into really heavy wind, that DC still, I might give it a little edge with that DC5 in the Metanium. But this Zillion all around can do almost anything you want. I've thrown top waters with braid, I've thrown fluorocarbon on it, and with the zero adjustment knob from the side here, this dial goes from 0 to 20.
Talk about that zero adjust on it.
Yeah,
it's a little different if you've never messed with one.
Yeah, so if you haven't messed with the Daiwa reel, guys, the zero adjustment knob is going to be your tension knob, basically. And the tension knob on this, it comes already like computer set. You don't even have to touch it. Zero on your adjustment knob, that lure is going to fall to the ground, hands down. If you go to 20, that lure is not going to go anywhere. You can pull your line out, it's not going anywhere. So that's why I really have just fallen in love with this Zillion and a lot of Daiwa's products that do that with the zero adjustment, like the Steezes and stuff. Because it can go from a 1/4 ounce lure all the way up to like a 1 ounce lure, and you've got it all in that one single dial.
No problem.
So I don't know the exact specs on these. You know, this is the 7.3 version, the 7-speed gear ratio. I'm not exactly sure. It's got probably 12 pounds of drag on it, like typical Daiwas. But it's at that $350 price range, and that's going to be right at your lower tier, like highest price point ones that you want to go for. You know, personally, I'm going to buy another one. I've got a couple more Daiwas coming in here because I just, you know, I've got 90% Shimano now, and I'm starting to break into
I got the old, the version before this one. I got
and you love it too.
It's awesome. And it has an SV spool on it. It just doesn't have the zero adjust knob on it. I got a deal on it, so I got it.
The Daiwa, of course, complete with the T-wing. You know, I don't think there's any American version Daiwas that don't have a T-wing.
Now you're breaking out the.
Now I've got
there's the high cheese. This is the high cheese in the shop, I think.
So, right, here at Lake Pro Tackle, we don't sell everything, but we sell stuff that we believe in. So all these ones we've put through the ringer, and we really believe in their capabilities, the fishability, and the overall performance of those products. And this guy right here, G. Loomis, hands down, is like the premier thing that people shoot for. And this is like the top of the top, the NRX Plus, brand new to this year, released at ICAST, got this CI4 monocoque handle on it. It is extremely light, extremely sensitive, and the one that I would pair it up with the Zillion here is going to be the 7'1" medium heavy. So that's going to be the NRX Plus 853C JWR.
Kind of a general everything, kind of a Texas rig kind of a thing.
You can throw top waters on this with braid. You can you can flip 3/4 ounce weights with this. I think it's rated up to 5/8. I mean,
and I think their rating, what I've heard some other people, it's a little bit more than what they say.
It says 12 to 16 pound line. You can put 18 and 20 on this,
easily.
I guarantee it.
No problem.
But this is just an amazing rod. Spiral X blank through it. Extremely light. The guides are very, very good. It's got the recoil guides on the, I guess, 3 up from the tip, where you can bend
flex.
those.
They won't break. They don't have inserts in them.
So this guy is just overall, I'm not even going to go into depth about it. Like, if you want to do research on an NRX Plus, we've got all that information on the website. But all the technology in it, it's the culmination of years and years and years of prototyping and testing and all the other ones.
That's a jig worm, right, too? That's the jig worm. When you see it on an NRX, it says JWR, that's a jig worm rod. So, and I tell customers all the time, if you're going to spend some money on a rod, I would spend it on something that's contact, that you want to feel the bottom of your, I say counting rocks. This is a counting rocks on rocks, right? Like counting pebbles, maybe.
You feel the grooves in the rock.
This is it. This is the one that you're going to have that sensitivity, that you can feel everything, and you can get those bites that you're just not going to have on other rods. I mean, it's that good of a rod.
All right, guys, so this next segment here, we're going to be talking about our favorite techniques, our technically two favorite techniques. We're going to cut it down so it's not too long. I know going through the rods and reels here takes a little bit, but we're going to talk about our top 2 techniques.
Okay, so can't say enough. I mean, if you know, it's a Vision 110 and GG Threadfin, my favorite color, one of your favorite colors.
Yep.
Caught a lot of fish on them in the past. I just like it because it has kind of a pattern to it. Looks really natural, but it also flashes too.
Yeah, the GG in it.
The GG, anything GG in Megabass is
Yep.
has a
shinier.
flash, shinier, right?
Yeah, and I think the blue pattern too, a lot of people don't throw a lot of blue, and I think it's one of those underrated things where in the water, if you get it to a certain depth,
Yep.
that blue like filters out. The
Yep.
fish just, I mean, it doesn't look blue to them. They
Yep.
don't see the way we see, and the jerkbait is definitely high on my list.
Yep.
Not quite there, and we're going to talk
Yeah.
about one technique at the end of the video that didn't make it on our list,
Yeah.
but will improve
Yes.
as the winter season goes.
So that was mine right there. I love it, and I throw my jerkbaits on a spinning reel too. That's what I do. I just like it. Now,
yeah.
you want to keep going or just go?
I'll go ahead and do one
Okay.
real quick.
Mini Max.
This is the Z-Man Mini Max, probably gonna fall off here. We'll, I guess,
There you
shove it
go.
right
There you go.
there. So this Mini Max chatterbait is special. It's one of those smaller profile blades
Yep.
with a small profile head.
Yep.
But you can put almost any trailer you want on it. And the chartreuse one specifically, chartreuse and white, is a great late fall, early winter time color because that water turnover,
Yep.
that water's gonna be a little dingier,
Could be,
and the fish are gonna be in a mood to where they don't always want to hit something just in their face, you know. That smaller blade too adds a little bit of thump. I think it's one of those great things that improves in the winter time. You know, having smaller clicks, something not as intrusive.
Yep.
You get on one end of the spectrum, like hard knocks are great in
Yep.
colder weather.
Yep.
And at the other end, you know, you're gonna have those real loud,
Yeah, yeah.
loud,
Yep.
lipless crankbaits like a TN70, TN80.
Yep.
Those are gonna
The
fade away.
The LV 500 too is really loud.
Yep. So this one doesn't put off a lot of thump, not very intrusive, and that's going to be one of my favorite picks to cover a lot of water
I like
through
it.
the fall winter time here.
Okay,
All right.
my turn. So, before I worked in tech store, I was in the Army for a long time, and I was stationed at Fort Leonard Wood. And up there, Lake of the Ozarks, a wigglewort is like a
OG.
gold OG. I mean,
OG.
it catches so many. In fact, it was my big bass for a long, long time. Many, many big bass. Won tournaments. My club there when I was there a couple of years in, or 2 in a row.
Yeah.
I won Lake of the Ozarks, and then I won our Table Rock back to back one year on a wigglewort. Same thing.
On a wigglewort. And
Yeah.
the funny thing is, the
Yeah.
first, like, I
Yeah.
built my own boat, right?
Yeah.
The first fish in my boat came off a wigglewort.
Oh, there you go. You can.
Yep.
And then I got a couple colors here that I really like. And the other one that kind of exists because they're trying to compete against the wigglewort was the Spro Rock Crawler, which
Yep.
goes a little bit deeper. But it
Costs a little bit more
costs
too.
more too. But it's got Gamakatsu hooks on it, and it's a great bait. And you can crawl it, like they say.
Yep.
You get it down there,
Just
even a little
count
bit
rocks.
deeper, and you just track, and it catches fish. And what they did was, if you're familiar with your wigglewort lore, the original Storm had a little bowl where the line tie is.
Yep.
Right, and then it was bought out by Rapala VMC, and it doesn't have it anymore. And I never knew that. I always had the new ones, but when Spro came about, they designed it, and if you look at their line tie, has the bowl like an original Storm wigglewort. But I've caught a lot of fish. They have a lot of colors in both actually now.
Yes.
A lot of colors,
Yep.
good colors. Ghost
I'm
patterns.
glad that the Spro ones, they're coming out with a lot more shad patterns too.
Shad patterns too, and different, like just different colors. Lots of different, like this is called Delta, I think. This one.
Yeah,
here.
you want to show the camera here real quick?
Yeah, that's Delta. It's a really good
Yep.
color. It's kind of that spring crawl color with a red belly, right?
Yep.
And then this one right
And
here.
it's matte too. That Spro one's matte.
This is
which I
just
love.
natural red crawfish in a wigglewort, and it's a good looking color too. That just that red, not real crazy red, but enough on and a good orange belly on it right there.
Yeah. What size line are you gonna be throwing on
I like,
those?
my wort 10 to 12,
10 to 12.
10 to 12 typically.
Yep. And that see, I think the big thing
Yeah,
about the
yeah.
wigglewort is the smaller line diameter you go,
Helps.
the way greater distance you're getting on that.
Yeah, way
I
a lot
don't know
more.
what it is, but like I can throw a 3XD, Strike King 3XD
Yeah,
on
it'll get-
15-pound line,
it'll get
and
down.
it's getting down there, and I switch to 10-pound line, and it's like maybe half a foot to like a
You're
foot.
right. There you go.
But that wiggle work definitely very, very dynamic.
And then and these are just two choices, right? You can have, but there's a bunch of other in that mid crank, the DT8 that just came
Yes.
out for
Yep.
Rapala, DT10. In that range, you've got a new Spro Outsiders now that can do that. The actually the Berkeley Dredger.
Money Badger. Oh.
And the Money
Yeah.
Badger, brand new bait Money Badger just came out. I've seen a lot of videos. And that's a great bait too, and it's loud.
Yep.
So you can hear it coming. They
I
have some
think
good
it's more of that spring. The Money Badger a little more springtime.
Yep.
But
Yep.
yeah, those are super solid choices there.
Yep.
Now I don't have any super specific bait, but if this gives
sinker?
any hint to what I'm throwing, it's a Picasso tungsten drop shot weights.
you
You know, the drop shot all year round gets bit. Fall time, winter time, fish are going to be locking down on cover, locking down in rocks, and I chose this weight specifically because it's a 3/8 ounce weight. So I can let it sit there in wind, I can let it sit there in current, and it's not moving that much. It's
That's
going to
actually
keep my bait.
favorite weight.
Really?
A 3/8 in a sinker, in a
Yeah.
flipping, in a Texas rig. I love 3/8.
See, I normally throw quarter.
Yeah.
Quarter is like my standard that I'll go to. Like, wind will pull it here and there, but most of the time it's staying on the bottom.
Yep.
That 3/8 really comes out when it's cold, and the fish don't want it to move. I was
Yeah.
captaining the high school tournament on
Yeah.
Lake Louisville, and the kid with the 3/8 ounce sinker
Got bit
on the drop shot.
because he wasn't moving.
It wasn't moving. And then the other one, which was throwing my rod with the quarter,
Wasn't
was not catching as many because he didn't want to make that switch. So that right there, you know, I'm going to match it up probably with the 6-inch straight tail robo worm.
Yeah.
I might even go to the Berkeley hit worm that you like, that we both like, in that 4.5-inch size. Shoot, it all depends on what hook you want to throw too. If you're in nasty stuff, you're going to want more of a cover shot hook.
The cover shot HD they make now
Yep.
too, which is you could put a lot of juice on that one.
Yeah, personally, I'm throwing anywhere from 6 to 10.
Yep.
Right now, I'm mainly on the 6 side,
Yes.
which is a little scary
It's
sometimes.
scary, yes.
But yeah, that's kind of what I got.
Yeah, I like it. And then look, if you look at this too, this is the Picasso one that it has the round tie, so you're not wedging your line in this one. You actually could tie to it.
Oh,
So-
there they go.
And there they go. Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer the tie-on ones.
Most guys, I think, are there now too. They're always
Yeah.
afraid you're going to lose your thing. If you do use a wedge, you need to tie a little granny knot in the end of your
Yeah,
line.
because I've broken off so many drop shot weights with just the crimp. I'm like, I'm just gonna lose the whole thing if I'm gonna lose it. Like, I don't care.
Then we need to start buying lead and not tungsten.
Well, let us know in the comments, guys,
Yeah.
if you want some lead weights. But
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing we agreed on for like a winter pattern is an A-rig.
Oh yes.
And the A-rig bite, it's not quite there yet. Almost.
Yeah, it's coming. It's going to be there, and it's going to be going. Well, if you remember last year, really we didn't get a winter until January.
Right.
Like the first week of January, then it went winter.
Yeah, the fish that I found, they're not suspended yet. They're
Nope.
still locked down in the rocks. They're still locked down in cover.
Yep.
And that A-rig,
Yeah.
I haven't been able to call any fish up from the bottom.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the jerkbait's just starting to get there, where it's a more erratic action, you know, more in the style of fall, where they're chasing bait actively.
Yep.
But
I mean, really 53, 50, 54, that's not that cold of water, really, you know.
no, realistically, it's
And
not.
then we had a really good warm snap the last week, too. I mean, I went out into Squaw last week, and on
Yep.
Thursday it was 77 degrees. I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt and nothing, and I mean, it's kind of scratching it, but it was definitely a lot different. So.
Right. But I think that'll do it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Our third edition of Dudes on a Dock.
Dudes on a Dock,
Guys, leave a comment down below. Let us know if you want to get some cool stuff in the shop, as well as, you know, if you are in the area, stop by. I'm usually in the office, so you can ask anyone in the store and grab me from the back. Tim's usually always here. He takes his lunch exclusively from basically 11:30 to 12:30.
Typically.
So,
So I can be here during
playing
lunch.
around that.
Yeah.
But thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.
Yep.